Hello, Amina. In this short screencast, I will be giving you feedback to the summary from last week. Okay, remember we said that it's better, instead of uploading a file, just to work straight into Google Classroom, and that makes it much easier for me. Just use a Google Doc. Just use the Google Classroom so I can leave comments directly to the document. Okay, so let's start with the feedback now. Overall, from what I can see, you started well with you tried an argumentative first sentence claims that you included the name of the speaker, the title of the video, and then the main idea here. Then you go on and you list some of the supporting ideas, and then you have a conclusion. So overall the structure is fine, just the skeleton of the summary overall is okay. So now let's look at the elements individually. The first sentence is quite clear and focused, but here Dushaw-Hockett claims that everybody has implicit biases and provides evidences. Now I'm not very sure what does that refer to. Provides evidences. Does everybody provide evidence, or does Hockett provide evidence? It makes it sound like everybody has biases and provides evidence. So here, instead of this bit, you could just expand a little bit on the main idea. So everybody has implicit biases, and then because he spends quite a bit of time in the video offering recommendations about what we need to do, you can just say David Hockett claims that everybody has implicit biases, but we can solve the problem if we take the necessary steps, or something like that, right? So expand a little bit. To make the main idea more clear. But other than that, the first sentence is good. It has everything we need to see in the first sentence. Then you start with the supporting idea. He believes that to live in better place, everybody should pay attention to implicit biases. You mean should pay attention. In a better place, you need an article there. At first, he demonstrates 3 characteristics of implicit biases which are related with experience of each individual. There is a missing verb here, right? Something is missing, which related does not sound grammatical. At first, he demonstrates 3 characteristics. Yes, so basically that's what it talks about. And what are these? The 3 characteristics that he talks about. Here, you probably want to spend a little bit of time saying what they are. First, second, third, or if you feel you can write one sentence, which is concise enough, you could put all of them in one sentence, but I wouldn't recommend that. You can just describe each one of them. First, we need to do this, or first biases are this, second they're that. You can just describe the 3 characteristics of the biases. People may do not know. Here there is something a little off. May is a modal verb, do is an auxiliary. They don't usually go together, so you can try and fix that. People may do not know. Modal verb plus auxiliary, they don't go together, so you can try and correct that. May do not know that they have biases because it happens automatically and fast, that they even do not mention. And fast that they even do not mention. Here he does say that they happen automatically and they're very quick associations, but you want to make that a bit more clearer. And fast that they even do not mention sounds a little bit vague here, so you want to make that, you want to rephrase that to make it sound a bit more clear. That is why the speaker provided good example with 3 words. Here you probably want to end the sentence. So the first characteristic it describes is that they are quick. You go on and describe the other 2. Here at this point, remember how we said that we stay away from evidence and examples? So it's not really such a good idea to include examples that he gives us an example, because remember in the summary we don't do that. So instead of this, you can just go on and talk about the other characteristics, right? So we stay away from examples, right? No need for this example. Okay. Plus, to somebody who hasn't seen the video, it will be a little bit difficult to understand what exactly is going on here. He provided good example with 3 words to represent auditorious fast automatic reaction. You mean the audience, right? To test the audience's fast automatic reactions, the speaker, blah, blah, blah. That would be the way to say it, but you don't need to. In fact, you shouldn't, because it is an example and we stay away from those. After this, so up to here, you want to spend a little bit more time talking about the 3 characteristics. These are fast, these reactions are fast, they are unconscious, and there was a third one. I'm forgetting which one. So here you want to do that. After this, he represents 3 reasons why it is important to focus on implicit biases. Yes, he does give 3 recommendations, things that we can do to fix that problem. So the solution to the problem of biases comes in the form of 3 recommendations. And then you can briefly say what these are, right? We need to be aware of them. We need to discuss them openly and without shame. And then there was a third one. Kind of similar to the 3 characteristics here, you can again just briefly describe the 3 recommendations. Now, I'm not very sure that you need this about the website, this part here. Instead of that, it would be a good idea just to talk about the recommendations. Now, he does mention go to that website and do the test. So that's one of his recommendations, but that is as part of a larger recommendation, which is we need to prepare ourselves for situations where we might possibly have biases. So we need to predict, okay, I'm going to be in this situation. Will I experience a bias? Am I likely to experience a bias? And it says in order to test yourself to see whether you are likely to experience a bias in a certain situation, go to that website. But in a sense, this is just an example, right? The larger recommendation is we need to be able to predict and preempt these biases. So that's what you want to say here. And then you can add the final reason. Okay, so again, there is no need to include this example. Instead, we focus on the 3 recommendations, right? Focus on the 3 recommendations. The main point in this part is, yes, you're right. He's talking about reducing shame. So we need to discuss biases openly. The main point in this part is the reason of reducing shame. Here we can just say that one of the things we can do, one of the recommendations is for us to discuss our biases openly without shame. So that's all you need to say, because the way you put it here, the main point in this part is the reason of reducing shame. It's a little bit unclear what's going on here. So I think if you said earlier that he offers 3 recommendations and then just say 1, 2, 3, it will be much clearer to the reader of this summary what we're talking about here. He finishes his speech with Uri whoever's quote to show how much internal works are matter to make real external changes. Yes, he does say, he does end, and that's actually a nice phrase here. He finishes his speech or his talk, that's fine, with a quote to show how much internal works are matter. You want to rephrase that, to make real external changes. Yes, we do need to work on ourselves. We need to start working from the inside out. First, we work on our own implicit biases, if we want, and then that will produce real change in the world. Something like that, right? So you want to rephrase that a little bit. Overall, I would suggest just follow it's a very simple structure. First, the first sentence, the main idea, we have biases and we need to do certain things about them. Then biases have 3 characteristics, 1, 2, 3. The speaker offers 3 recommendations how to solve the problem, 1, 2, 3. Finally, and actually you've ended quite well, more or less here. So you can follow that structure, and I think the summary will be a little bit clearer. You've done well to use cohesive devices at first, after this. Now most of these I noticed have to do with first he says this, then he says that, which is okay, but these are all temporal. Basically, they're all about sequences. First he does, then he does, after that he does, which is good. That is definitely a good cohesive device. But for more variety, you could use other ones. Additionally, moreover, however, those other linking words and phrases. Basing his claim on contemporary science, Hockett states that blah blah blah. See, you could use those types of cohesive devices. Okay, so Amina, this was the feedback for the summary. You know what to do now.